wasn't always like this, but life has a way of twisting you up, slowly, quietly, until you don't even recognize yourself anymore. I didn't come from the streets. I came from a small town, the kind where everybody knows your name and pretends not to see your pain. My mom worked doubles at the diner, always smelled like grease and cigarettes. My dad? Gone before I hit middle school. I had dreams once, wanted to be a nurse, maybe have a little house with a porch. But dreams cost money, and we barely had enough for ramen. By 16, I was hustling. Not drugs, not yet, but favors, lies, shortcuts. You tell yourself it's just for now, just until you get on your feet. But just for now turns into years, and one day you look around and all your friends are in jail or dead, and you're still chasing something you can't even name. I had a kid young, Talon. Brightest eyes you've ever seen. I swore I'd be better for him. I really did. But being broke with a baby, it breaks something in you. I tried legit work, cleaning houses, wiping floors with my pride, 10 hours a day for pennies and still behind on rent. So when Rico came around, driving that black Charger, thick gold chain, smile like he had all the answers, I listened. All I had to do was run a package across town. No big deal, quick cash, no questions. I knew what it was. Deep down, I knew, but I didn't ask, didn't want to hear it out loud. Because if I said it out loud, it became real, and I needed that money. So I took the job, then another, then a dozen more. Before I knew it, I was in it. Phones I couldn't keep, people I didn't trust, always watching my back and telling my son, Mommy's just working late. He started asking questions, why I missed his recital, why I always looked tired, why I never smiled anymore. I told him grown-up stuff was hard, that I was doing it all for him. But the truth? I was doing it for the version of me that couldn't stand being poor anymore. One night I got sloppy. Was supposed to drop off a bag and bounce. I didn't know the place was hot. Didn't know they were watching. Lights, guns, yelling. Next thing I know, I'm face down on the concrete, hands zip-tied behind my back, with Talon's phone falling out of my pocket. That image, my baby's face in the dirt, burned into me. They charged me with possession, distribution, and intent to traffic. No deal, no second chances. I remember sitting in that courtroom, chains on my ankles, public defender whispering things I couldn't hear because all I could see was my son crying in the back row. He reached for me, but the bailiff pulled him away. I didn't cry, not then. I just stared at the floor and thought about every time I said I've got this, when I never really did. You know what's wild? I used to judge people like me. Used to think prison was for bad folks. People who made their choices and didn't care. But now, I know different. Sometimes it's not one big choice, it's 1,000 tiny ones. It's being tired, it's being broke, it's being unseen, unheard, until the wrong choice feels like the only one you've got. And by the time you realise you took the wrong turn, there's no road back, only walls, and silence and regret, loud enough to drown you. They called it intake, but it felt more like being erased. First thing they did, took my name. Tina Marie James, gone. Now I was just 4L7291, a number stamped, logged, filed. They made me strip in front of strangers, bend over, cough. Humiliation doesn't even begin to cover it. No one looked me in the eyes. No one said, you'll be okay. They'd seen 100 women like me that day, and I was just next. They gave me a jumpsuit that didn't fit and underwear that wasn't new. Told me to put my hair up. No strings, no drawstrings, no laces, anything you could hurt yourself with, or someone else. Then they walked me through the gates. 1, 2, 3 doors, each one louder than the last. That sound, it stays with you. The unit smelled like bleach and sweat and something else, something I still can't name. Voices echoed down the halls, shouting, crying. Laughter that didn't sound real. They showed me my bunk, top rack, corner, no privacy. Just me and a mattress thinner than my old Bible. The woman below me didn't look up, didn't say a word, just kept writing something over and over in a little spiral notebook. I climbed up, sat down, and stared at the wall. That was the first time I realised I wouldn't hear silence for years, but I'd still feel completely alone. I didn't sleep that night, couldn't. Someone was pacing. Someone else was crying, and down the hall 2 women were screaming at each other over ramen noodles. This wasn't like TV. This wasn't Orange is the New anything. This was women stacked like boxes, some broken, some bitter, some dangerous. I tried not to make eye contact, tried to stay small, tried to disappear, but nothing stays hidden for long in here. They woke us up at 5 a.m. Bright lights, loud buzzers, no warning. Line up, count time, stand still. If you flinch, they yell. If you talk, they write you up. I learned fast, keep your hands behind your back. Don't ask for extra anything. And never complain about the food. Because that's when they mark you. You don't have rights in here. You have privileges. And they take them just to remind you who you are now. I got assigned kitchen duty. Pushing trays, scraping slop, smelling like boiled beans and bleach. Some of the girls had been in and out for years. They called me new fish. Told me I'd better toughen up or sink fast. One of them, Big Lisa, leaned in close my second week and said, "You cry here, you bleed," then walked away laughing. So I stopped crying. But I started forgetting things, like what my son's laugh sounded like, or the way sunlight felt on bare skin. Time moves different in here. It stretches, it folds. You blink and it's been 3 months, but you feel every second in your bones. The guards? Some were decent, most weren't. I saw a girl get thrown in the HU just for mouthing off. Saw another pass out from heat, and they left her there until someone screamed loud enough. But no one listens in here, not really. They say you're paying your debt, but what they don't tell you is that prison takes more than just your time. It takes your softness, your trust, your voice. I started talking less, started watching more how people moved, who got extra juice, who got respect. I kept my head down and my mouth shut, and every night I lay in that bunk wondering if my son was forgetting me too. I wrote letters, dozens, mostly to Talon, some to my mom. Few came back. The ones that did had short words. Polite ones, like talking to a stranger, and maybe I was one. I used to think prison was about bars, razor wire, steel doors. But really, it's about losing your reflection, looking in the mirror and not recognizing what's looking back. That's what they don't show you, that quiet ache of disappearing, of being counted but never seen. I thought surviving prison meant staying quiet, following the rules, keeping to myself. But turns out there's a whole other set of rules in here. Ones no one tells you, ones not written anywhere. You learn them the hard way. First week in general population, I sat at the wrong table during chow. Didn't think it mattered, just wanted to eat in peace. But the looks I got? Cold. Sharp. Like I stepped into someone else's house without knocking. Later that night, someone poured mop water in my locker, soaked everything, photos, letters, my only clean towel. No one said a word, not even the guards. That's how it works here. There's the official prison, and then there's the real one. The real one has lines you don't cross, people you don't look at, favors you don't take unless you're ready to pay double. Respect in here isn't earned by time, it's earned by silence, by how you carry yourself, by who watches your back and who doesn't. Big Lisa ran our unit, not officially, but everyone knew. She got first dibs on everything, extra trays, new arrivals, even guards who looked the other way. No one challenged her, not unless they wanted trouble. One girl did. Marcy, fresh in, full of attitude, tried to stall, talk back. Within 3 days, her face was black and blue, and she was in protective custody. Nobody asked questions. There's this saying in here, mind your time. It means don't get involved. Don't ask. Don't speak. Don't care. But that's the hardest part, turning off the part of you that wants to care. I saw a girl named Nia get jumped over a honey bun. A honey bun. She owed someone a snack from commissary and couldn't pay. They caught her in the shower, 5 against 1, blood on tile. No one said a word. The next day she was gone. Transferred, they said, but no one believed it. That's when I stopped showering alone, started watching who I spoke to, started counting the steps between my bunk and the exit. Even sleep wasn't safe. I kept my shoes tied, kept my ID band tight on my wrist, always ready. There were cliques, some by race, some by city, some by time served. If you didn't belong to one, you were a target, or worse, invisible. And being invisible here, it means no one will stand for you when it counts. But joining a group, that comes with a price. I remember this girl, Lena. Tiny thing, maybe 19. Got taken under someone's wing fast. They gave her snacks, a place to sit, even taught her how to talk to the COs. Then one night, they told her to mule something during visitation. She said no. Next day, she had a busted lip and no one to sit with. She didn't last long after that. Transferred too. Or at least that's what they told us. There's always a story that ends in someone disappearing. Sometimes silence keeps you safe, but sometimes it eats you alive. I started writing down everything, little codes, people to avoid, things I saw but couldn't say out loud. It helped me feel less powerless, like maybe I still had some kind of control over what was happening to me. But even writing was risky. You never know who's watching, who's reading over your shoulder. One night, I caught my bunkie flipping through my notebook. She just smiled, said, "Don't worry, I didn't snitch." But my stomach dropped. Trust. That's a currency I couldn't afford. From then on, I kept everything in my head. Names, times, patterns, like a game I didn't want to play but had to win to survive. Because in here, it's not just about finishing your sentence, it's about making it through without losing who you are. And every choice, every whisper, every stare you pretend not to see takes something from you. You start questioning everything. Is she smiling because she's friendly? Or because she wants something? Did that CO really just forget my mail, or is someone pulling strings behind my back? I lost count of the days, started counting people instead. Who was still here? Who was suddenly gone? Who changed? I changed too, got quieter, harder, colder. But not because I wanted to, because I had to. Because in a place like this, kindness can get you killed. And silence, it might be the only thing that keeps you breathing. It hit me on a Tuesday, just a regular nothing special kind of day. No fight, no lockdown, no warning. I was sitting on my bunk folding the same pair of state-issued socks for the 100th time when they handed me the envelope. White, thin return address smudged. My heart jumped. Maybe it was from Talon, maybe my mom, maybe, finally, someone remembered I was still here. But when I flipped it over, I saw it. Return to sender, address unknown. I froze. Just stared at the black ink like it was a foreign language. I opened it anyway. My letter was inside, the one I wrote to Talon last month. Told him how much I missed him, how I was working in the laundry now, how I counted the days by how many nights I dreamed about his laugh. And now it was back in my hands like a slap to the face. I couldn't breathe. I swear the air got thicker. My hands started shaking and the letter slipped onto the floor. I picked it up and just crumpled into the corner of my bunk. Couldn't hold it together anymore. I rocked myself. I cried without sound, tears soaking through my shirt while my bunkie pretended not to notice. That kind of pain? It doesn't come with words. I don't know how long I sat like that, but it felt like hours. Everything in me cracked, like I was finally feeling every missed call, every birthday I'd missed, every night my son cried without me. And I hated myself, hated the choices, the lies, the pride that got me here. For the first time in years, I thought about ending it. Really thought about it. Just stop waking up. Let the silence take me. But then, out of nowhere, someone knocked lightly on my bunk frame. It was Jones, older woman. Been down almost 20 years. She didn't say much, just handed me a folded piece of paper and a warm cup of instant coffee. Didn't ask what was wrong, didn't give some fake pep talk. She just sat there, quiet. After a while, I opened the note. It was a poem, written in shaky all-caps letters. Simple words, but each one hit me like a punch. She'd written it for her daughter, a girl she hadn't seen in over a decade. At the bottom it said, "They can cage our bodies, but not our hope. You ain't done yet, girl, not even close." That broke me all over again, but this time, not in the same way. This time, it cracked something open. I looked at Jones and whispered, "Thank you." She just nodded, then said, "Don't thank me, just get up tomorrow." That night, I slept, not because I was okay, but because I wasn't alone. After that, things started to shift. I began helping the girls who couldn't read write letters, started showing new inmates how to navigate the system, taught a GED class once a week. It wasn't much, but it felt like something. I stopped waiting for someone to save me, stopped praying for some miracle release. Instead, I started becoming someone my son could be proud of, even if he never saw me again. I wrote to him every week, even when they came back unopened, even when I didn't know where he lived. Because maybe one day he'd want to know who his mother really was. Not the mugshot, not the inmate number, but the woman who refused to give up. One afternoon, Jones pulled me aside and said, "You walk different now." I asked what she meant. She said, "You don't move like you're broken anymore." And I realised she was right. The pain didn't go away, the regret never left, but somehow in the middle of all that darkness I'd found something like light. and I held on to it, because in a place built to crush you, the smallest spark can feel like fire. They said I was getting out on Friday, just like that. No ceremony, no last words, just a CO sliding a paper under my cell door with the date circled in red ink. I stared at it for a long time, didn't cry, didn't smile. I just kept thinking, what now? I'd imagined this moment for years, the gate opening, breathing real air, feeling the sun on my face without fences in the way. But when the day came, it didn't feel like freedom. It felt like stepping off a cliff with no idea what was at the bottom. They handed me a plastic bag. Inside, a worn-out hoodie, $23 in gate money, and the shoes I came in with, still stained from the night they took me in. That's what I left with, $23 and a record. No one came to get me, no hugs, no balloons, just a bus stop outside the gate and a few other girls pretending they weren't scared. I sat there for an hour, just watching the cars go by, wondering if any of them would look at me and see something more than a mistake. Nobody did. The world had moved on, and I didn't know where I fit anymore. I checked into a halfway house on the edge of town. 4 women in one room. No privacy, no trust. The first night, someone stole my toothpaste. The second night, I cried into my pillow because the silence outside felt louder than prison ever did. People think getting out is the hard part. It's not. It's what comes next. Trying to get a job when all they see is your charge. Trying to open a bank account when you have no address. Trying to sleep when every creak in the hallway feels like chains and keys. I applied to 27 jobs that first week, heard back from 2. Both said no, but I kept going because I had to. I started working at a diner, washing dishes in the back, minimum wage, no questions asked, just the way I needed it. The manager, Dee, she'd done time too. She knew. She didn't say much, just handed me gloves and said, don't mess up and we'll be good. And I didn't. I showed up early, stayed late, saved every dollar. No drugs, no shortcuts, just work. At night, I wrote letters to Talon. Still didn't know where to send them, but I wrote anyway. It made me feel human. I kept them in a box under my bed, right next to my doc ID card, a reminder of who I was and who I didn't want to be again. Sometimes I'd see moms and sons at the diner, the way they laughed, the way the boys leaned into their mothers without fear or distance, and it hit me like a punch every single time. But I didn't look away, didn't run, I let it hurt, because that hurt was the price of waking up. A year went by, then 2. I moved into a tiny studio apartment above a laundromat, had a window that looked out over the street, and a leaky faucet that kept me up at night. But it was mine. I still had nightmares, still flinched when someone stood too close, still waited for someone to knock on the door and take it all away, but no one came. One Sunday I got a letter, no return address. Just my name. Inside, a fofo. Talon, older now, taller, in a cap and gown, no note, just the picture. I stared at it for hours. He looked strong, healthy, like someone who'd made it. And maybe, just maybe, a little like me. I hung that photo on my fridge with the only magnet I owned. Every morning I looked at it before I walked out the door. Not because I thought we were okay, not yet. Maybe not ever, but because I needed to remember that even if he didn't forgive me, even if he never called, I still had a chance to live the rest of my life as someone better. People ask me if I'm free now. I tell them no. Freedom isn't a date on a paper. It's not a key or a gate. It's the choice to show up every day, own your past, and not let it own you. And that's what I do. One day at a time. One choice at a time. Not to forget what I did, but to prove it won't be the end of my story.